Well, it's official. We have the new Mitch McConnell and the new Chuck Schumer, and his name is John Thune. John Thune will be the leader of the Senate, and the majority leader, and what I'd like to do is give you a quick primer of what his goals are, his initiatives on deregulation, tax cuts, what implications he's going to have for you as an American. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Majority Leader John Thune just got elected via secret ballot. A little bit of background on him. He was born in 1961, and when he was about 22 years old, he graduated college. At 23 years old, he got his MBA. Yeah, I know it was like a year and a half later. And so he graduated in 1984. Then he went right into working for a senator as an aide in 85, which basically means he spent his entire career, he's like 63 now, in politics. At one point, or at least in government, at one point he worked as a director for the state railroad in South Dakota. In 1996, so about 11 years after he graduated with his, about 12 years after he graduated with his MBA, he ran for U.S. House of Representatives. He ended up getting that seat in 96. 9 years later, became a senator. He's been a chair of the Republican Policy Committee. He's been a Senate Majority Whip. That was from 2019 through 2021, so basically during that first wave there of COVID. Since Democrats had, power at one point, he's been a Minority Whip during that term. Now, whips are basically people who, quote-unquote, whip up votes to try to pass bills. Hey, do we have enough? What do you need? What do you need? Okay, you'll vote yes if I give you this? All right, let me see what I can do. And, you're basically trying to negotiate a little earmarks, if you will, into packages. But anyway, he's been trying to replace Mitch McConnell since March, and it finally happened. You got Scott that got the boot, and you got John Thune in. He's an evangelical. Again, he's from South Dakota. He's a senator. At one point, people were thinking that he was going to be a vice presidential pick for John McCain. Who remembers McCain? And then McCain's like, all right, John Thune, I pick Sarah Palin. Okay. But anyway, let's go ahead and listen to what he says in terms of policy priorities right now, which I think is useful to look at because you're not only going to get to see his face, but you're going to get to see how he talks, how he carries himself. I personally think he comes across as a reasonable politician. It's still a politician, obviously. So, maybe there's like an irony in saying reasonable politician, but hey, you know what? You got to do with what you got to do, or with what you got. I butchered that. Whatever. If you are worried about butchering, make sure to get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes. Okay, you can get it by signing up for metkevin.com/life. It's a paid promotion on the channel, and you can get it within as little as 5 minutes, and Apple Pay or Android Pay for it. All right, let's get into this. Quickly also, if you want free stocks, if you're ever trading, metkevin.com/Weeble. It's where I put all the lines. I'll link both of these down below. They're both paid promotions. All right, with that said, let's get into this.
Hold the House. Obviously, we have a legislative vehicle available to us called Budget Reconciliation,
hold on.
which the Democrats use.
My bad. I have it on 2x speed because that's how I often listen to things. But that's not going to work well if you're on 2x as well, because then it's 4x.
Legislative vehicle available to us called Budget Reconciliation, which the Democrats used extensively when they had all three. But when you have unified control of government, it gives you an opportunity to do some things. So obviously, we've got to extend the Trump tax cuts, which if we don't, ends up being a $4 trillion tax increase on the economy and almost...
Keep that in mind, by the way. It's extremely common for Republicans to pass tax cuts that have sort of an expiration. But then if Republicans have power again in the future, they want to renew those tax cuts because otherwise it turns into a tax increase. So this is why they say like nothing in government is ever temporary, because basically the way it works is like you pass tax cuts under the argument or premise that they're going to be temporary. But then when they come up for expiration, you're like, oh, well, we better extend these because otherwise we're increasing taxes. It's like, no, you cut taxes for 5 years or whatever it is, 7 years. You cut taxes for 7 years. That was the tax cut. Yeah, but now it's expiring. It's going to go up again. That's a tax increase. We don't want that. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I'm all for, lower taxes, but that's quick way this sort of works. This is why you'll often also get Republicans that extend Democratic initiatives as well. So, for example, if I kind of speculate that they might not get rid of all of the tax credits that Democrats passed for even electric vehicles and otherwise, because, oh, now you're making cars more expensive. You're causing inflation unless you extend the expiration. It's crazy.
$2,000 per average family in this country. I think energy policy, I think border policy. If you look at the economic agenda, it's also a regulatory, and the cost of regulation's been $1.8 trillion since Biden and Harris took office. So lighter touch on regulations, again, extending the tax policy, bonus depreciation, interest deductibility, R&D expensing, the things that get you the big growth in the economy. We need pro-growth policies on the economy, and then we've got always got to be paying attention to what's happening with respect to national security, because we live in a very dangerous world. So I think those issues are going to be front and center, and if we have unified control of the government, we're in a much better position to enact an agenda that is consistent with accomplishing those goals.
Right, Pete.
So there you go. This sort of gives you a quick little outline of what John Thune's priorities are and where his head is. As you can see, level-headed person. This was filmed, that was, by the way, at like 5 a.m. a few days ago. I watched it live when it happened. And that's why I wanted to bring this clip up. I wanted to introduce you to him in case you're not familiar with him. This is basically your new Mitch McConnell. Now, why do they matter? Well, they matter because, even if you have a Republican coalition that wants to bring a bill up, the leader could, if they want, just sit on it and never bring a bill up to vote. You remember that with Mitch McConnell during COVID and everybody was worried about inflation? I mean, rightfully so, right? But this is their job. And they also work to negotiate legislation. They're a really big part of, frankly, what you could call sort of the broader envelope of the Trump administration for getting policy and priorities through. Because without them, you just can't get anything done in Congress. It's already hard enough to get things done, but they're very important, and they're right there with sort of the Speaker of the House, and so we'll see how things here move on getting these policies implemented and introduced. I'm excited to see it. Also excited to see how they use budget reconciliation. Remember, usually in order to pass a bill in the Senate, you need 60 votes, but Republicans don't have 60 votes. Now, they could pass things with 50 plus 1, a simple majority, if they call it budget reconciliation, but there are rules around budget reconciliation, like the Byrd rule, which says, hey, it has to actually relate to revenues or the budget or taxes. And so then what happens is you usually get a big budget bill everybody tries to hook everything onto, and then somebody goes through, usually the parliamentarian, and goes, nah, we can't hook that onto this, we can't hook that onto this, okay, we can hook this on. Anyway, these are all very important things. You know what is actually interesting is I wonder who picks the parliamentarian. Let's do a really quick look. Who picks the Senate parliamentarian? It's a funny word that you have to spell. Often chosen by the Senate majority leader. So that's actually a really big deal because that means Thune has potential control over who that person is. And that matters because it would give them greater guidance and flexibility on what kind of priorities can they pass with just 51 votes. This is why he already references, oh, Democrats use it all the time. He's basically saying, now it's my turn. I don't blame him either. That's how the game's played, so good on you, man. All right. So there you have it. Anyway, John Thune for y'all. Congratulations to John Thune.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.